I'd also like to introduce Dr. Warren Kinghorn, who holds a doctorate of medicine and a doctorate of theology. He has a joint appointment in the departments of psychiatry and theology at Duke University, and his particular interest is in thinking about how religious communities can support individuals with mental illness, talking with patients about how their faith informs their care and the treatment of their mental illness, and we appreciate his presence as we have this intersectional conversation related to faith and mental health. The first question that we'd like to pose to our panelists is why did you choose to participate in this event?
In addition to my work at Duke, I take care as a psychiatrist of a really amazing group of veterans at the VA hospital in Durham, North Carolina. And they have taught me a lot. They live with a lot of health challenges, a lot of mental health challenges with jobs and housing. But when they have faith, and especially when they have a community of faith around them, it makes a huge difference. And beyond that, it makes a difference for me. I mean, beyond being a psychiatrist, I'm a child of God and have to know that before anything that I do or anything that I am, that I'm one who's loved by God. I believe that God's in the healing business, and so that makes me excited to be here.
Sort of building on the idea of developing your own strategies for maintaining your mental health, Dr. Kinghorn, can you talk about the role of faith communities in supporting people with mental health problems? And could you give an example of a time in your clinical work when this was done particularly well?
Thank you. Yeah, faith communities can be really important. There was a church that we worked with in North Carolina who had a member who lives with bipolar disorder. And this man was always pretty spiritual, but the church members began to notice that he was kind of more spiritual than usual, back to what Vicki was saying earlier. And this church actually had a mental health support team that had some mental health clinicians on it. And they reached out to him and they visited him. And it turned out that this man was actually really scared by what was going on at that point inside his mind. He was having a hard time making sense of things. He seemed disorganized. They realized that he wasn't taking his medication. And this team of people from the church actually helped him to take his medication again. They visited him every day. With his permission, they took his gun into safekeeping until he felt better. He actually did really well. Not only did he avoid a trip to the emergency room, which could have been multiple days, but he also felt cared for and supported and more deeply a part of the community. That's where faith communities can be really important. Some faith communities have the resources to actually offer mental health care to people who need it. And I think about an example here in New York, in Harlem, is First Corinthian Baptist Church, under the leadership of Pastor Michael Walrond, has opened the Hope Center to provide mental health services, not only to church members, but also to people in the community. There's the Community Coalition on Mental Health in Harlem that is under the leadership of Dr. Sidney Hankerson. Second, faith communities can remind us all, those who live with mental illness and without, that we are known and loved by God, and that is the deepest truth of who we are, no matter what. And that means that we can know and love each other and care for each other. And in a world where a lot of mental health challenges have to do with disconnection and fragmentation, that goes a long way. Another thing faith communities can do is to, at their best, is to say that it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to call out to God when you're suffering. And Jesus is there to meet us right where we are in our brokenness. The last things that faith communities can do is not just support people with mental illness, but also call everyone into service, to give people something to do, a sense of vocation and purpose, to ask people to lead worship or ask people to lead with a ministry. Not just to support, but to call into service. And then finally, faith communities can organize and advocate for mental health services so that no one who lives with mental illness doesn't get the treatment that they need, that no one gets left out, that no one gets left behind.
As we have talked about starting a conversation with this town hall and this event, you've heard from this panel of experts that the conversation continues once you get in the room with your mental health care provider, your therapist, your psychiatrist, your psychologist. If there are concerns that you want to see addressed, it's about having that conversation. If there's someone across from you who doesn't look like you, it's about having that conversation. If there are other aspects that you would like to bring into the therapy, whether it's creative arts, whether it's your faith, it's about having that conversation. And as we continue this dialogue, we hope that you will find rich and engaging experiences as you continue on your journey with mental health and wellness. Let's say thank you again to our panelists.